verses about disobedient children. Then I'd go there and put forgiveness and love. Then you'd put there the Israelites. You know, the Israelites done is just disobedience from the beginning to the end. And I'd put there Jesus Christ loves us.
And that's how you were communicating?
That's how we were communicating.
That's hilarious, actually.
No, seriously. And I think in his head is like, she's getting the point. And in my head, I'm also thinking, I hope he's getting the point.
And
that
she's disappointed me. I'm not happy.
But then I'm also like, I did not plan this. It's not like I went there and said I'm going to get. So my mom used to say, Kekimuri, she went to the university, she came out with a degree and a baby. And she'd tell her friends that, and I was like, Then, fast forward to when I lost my child, my dad comes up to give his speech, and he's like, my wife had three losses. Then I understood why she was very proud of it. Because I didn't suffer. My sister actually did. She had a prolonged, waited 5 years in her marriage. So, yeah, it's controlled, not planned, no nothing. But she was really proud of it. And I never understood it. Until then. Yeah, so
you had your daughter?
I had my daughter, and then and I told myself we're going to be BFFs from the beginning. I'm not going to do the things where she's far removed from me and all that. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So coming out of that, at least you had your support of your family.
Yes.
You mentioned your sister, your mom was in your corner, and then getting out of that into the working world. Did it take a while?
It did.
Okay.
It did. But we are born out of an entrepreneur's mind. My mom is those people, like she'd sell chickens from the back of her car. You know those mothers. She'd rear them in the backyard, get her with toche, she was that person. So when I gave birth, I was like, okay, now. I started a service. I was delivering food. Shopping. I used to be a personal shopper to people. And it was called, company was called Spread Too Thin. Because literally people who need me are spread too thin. So it was for the working class, the corporates. And so I have 4 older siblings. So all their friends, I just be there. You need my services.
Okay.
Even if you need my services.
You need me.
So it was actually growing, but then what let me down? Help.
Okay.
Because you want your child raised in a certain way, and my mother said, you can't do this.
Okay.
Because she was also living her life, so now putting the child on her to be raised. And I went through maids like juice. Like I see mothers now and they're like, oh, this. And I was just like, it's a sign, stay home, finish, then go out and begin. Yeah, just take some time. Because if you can. That's also the other thing, because there are those mothers who can't. They're like, God, please watch over my daughter as I go to work, or my son, or my children. Excuse me. So
you took some time at home.
I had to backtrack. I just had to take myself and say, okay, now, can we partner with someone?
Okay.
To keep it going. So I tried that, but then she was not quite getting the concept, because you have to have a personal relationship with these people. And she was more of, okay, I've delivered the thing. And me, I'd go, we'd sit, have tea. How are these guys? So people were not feeling the connection. So people started dropping off. They're like, is Kecho there? Is Kecho there? So I was like, you know what? It's okay. So she's like, me, I'm going to take it on as me and run it as me. Then I was like, fine, then buy me out. So she bought me out, and it's still running. Like, of course, now these Jumias and all that are giving her a hard time, but she still has her people who go down, who she wants to go down and pick for them stuff and all that.
That's nice.
So after that, I think we moved back, because now my husband had organized his head. Now he had a job. So we moved. The baby's about 4.
Okay.
3, 4.
When did you meet your husband?
2008.
Okay.
Yeah, 2008.
He's Ugandan.
He's Kenyan.
He's Kenyan.
Yeah. He's Kenyan. That's how I keep going back to Kenya. Yeah.
Okay.
So I keep going back, because now half our roots are that side. So yeah, so we moved back. We tried to settle in. Do you know how hard it is for Ugandans to get a job in Kenya? I look at people and they say, no, it's harder for Kenyans, because we've tried both sides. The last time he came and tried, and then I realized, this East African community is a hoax.
It's not there.
It is a hoax. It's sad that I'm the one saying this, because my dad is like the core of East African community. Like you cut him and East African community comes out. But it was such a hoax. We looked and were like, even our countries are against our marriage. Because without economic strongholds, it's very hard to be in a marriage. Yeah? So I would go there and I'm not a sitter. I just can't sit. I want to be doing things. So I tried, we really tried. And in the middle of trying, my mom falls sick. And I moved back. Because I'm like, okay, everyone seems to be doing their own thing. And they can only give her that much time. Because everyone has their families. And everyone's like, but why is it your family? I said, because me, I didn't mind. And my husband didn't mind me going to look after my mother, you know. So I moved back.
So you came back
I came back.
Okay.
I came back. And I looked, that was 2012. 2013, my mother is like, I'm fine.
Okay.
You can go. In fact, she used to send me every morning. Like, why don't you go back? I'm like, until you walk out of here. And she was in ICU and HDU. She used to play ping pong. Like, today she's in ICU, tomorrow they have put her in HDU. I'm like, gosh, her heart, her what? You know when things just stop failing. Then one day she just, I'm ready, I'm good. I can walk, I can do what? Well, like, this is good, right? Yeah. Then 2014, the beginning, she just, we don't even see, you know how that was like a left hook or a right hook. We didn't see it coming, and it happened so fast. And I was in Kenya by then. So my dad comes, my sis calls me and says, if you don't get on a bus, a plane, a boat, something to get here this weekend, I don't think she's going to make it. This is August. I was like, what do you mean she's not going to make it? She has to make it.
Because before she
was fine. But it's like the one I have seen inside there, she's not going to make it. So my dad because he'd do tours. He'd go to Tanzania, then come to Nairobi, then back home because of the East African community and all that. So, I tell him Saturday. He comes Thursday. Friday, Dora tells me that, my big sister. Saturday, I tell him I'm out. Me know someone has come to see you, you understand, and the other family and whatever. And I'm like, me, I've gone. You can stay here and play happy family, but I'm gone. Then the last flight out of Nairobi, the 11 o'clock, the
late night.
Delays, what, I'm with Kayla, because I'm not leaving my child, so I go with Kayla. Guess who I see? My dad. I'm like, yo, you changed the flight? He's like, yeah, let's go. So we come back together like at 2 a.m. I'm there crying, baby, luggage, what. And in my head, I thought we were going straight to the hospital. No, people drove home. I was like, I thought no, you can't see her now, whether you wanted it or not.
Hours.
So we will wake up tomorrow and go. People woke up, went to church, and I was like, am I the only one who needs, because they made it a matter of fact. You know, when someone tells you, come and say bye. Thank you. So my brother, who was in the UK, because she sent the same message to all of us. I think that weekend was his daughter's christening, and they're so big on that there. So he's like, should I come? Should I? Then Sunday, that Sunday, her body just says, I think, Dora keeps saying, my sister, I think she felt you. So she's like, okay, I'm good. So she came back alive. They're telling you, oh, she's fine. She looks good. So we tell him, take your time. Wednesday. 3 days later, Wednesday night. We spent the whole morning looking for plasmas. Have you seen, by the way, when I see these guys, oh, we need blood, that it's a trigger for me, because we looked for plasmas. We looked for plasmas until I was like, what? Who knew that your blood and the plasmas are different? And you learn so many things when you're in these crises. And we found the plasmas at like 7 p.m. And the doctor said, tomorrow morning I'm going to wake up, because she was bleeding out. Every hole in her body had blood coming out. She was not clotting. It wasn't clotting. Yeah. So he's like, I'm going to enter there 7 in the morning, and then 3 a.m. 3 a.m. she dies. So in the morning we wake up. My dad plays music. Anyone who knows my dad, it's like he has a disco in his house. But he plays hymns, classical music, you know, typical professor. Just, you know how, yeah. So we wake up in the morning and he's playing, because he used to play, we stay right next to Nakasero Hospital, like this is Nakasero, we share a wall. And he would play for her music. Oh. Yeah. So waking up, we're like, oh, this is going to be Jolly music. No. What's that hymn? Nearer my God to thee. It is literally, it's like till we meet, yes. And I was like, who are we meeting and why are we playing this song and what's going on? Hey, I switched on my phone. I think WhatsApp had come by then, yes. Hey.
A message.
I got on, sent to my husband, sent the same message to my husband, to my girls, and switched off my phone. That was it.
You know, you said that, you know, grief is very different. Losing a parent is very different from losing a child. And you already talked about when you lost your mom, your way of dealing with it was first trying to drink your way through it, and then eventually you told your husband, I have to go back, and you came back. And then in your book, you mentioned you lost two children. When was the first pregnancy?
I don't even talk about James because I haven't yet dealt with James. James was an acknowledgement of betrayal. My womb could not hold, because he...
Previously on Crystal One-on-One.
Because when I asked for 3, I went down up to about 1.5 a month, and I told them at 1.5 a month, give me this show, I produce it, in 3 months, it will be bringing 50 million shillings plus in sponsorships. And I'm like, no, that has never happened. We don't even give producers 1 million shillings. Who are you? I said, I am the person.
You're the talent.
Who has brought the talent that brings this much money. I'm not asking for a lot. Decide what fits what I've contributed.
You know, that's a challenge a lot of people go through. That's not being paid your worth.
I didn't go for D&C, I didn't take a pill. He just started coming out. And they had told me, we went to check at the hospital, and the doctor was like, oh, this pregnancy is not viable. Gosh, these English words. And I was like, does viable mean the same thing in this as in English generally? And she's like, yeah. And the doctor moves on to say, oh, so now we're going to operate you, we'll have a D&C. And she's not acknowledging that I've just been hit by a boulder. Like, please hold up. Let me process this, right?
I don't know if it's they're just hardened, because I had a miscarriage after my first child. And I remember also it was just the same kind of thing. Like, okay, now we need to take you in, you have to clean you up, you have to, and you're just like, what's happening? And okay, you can go home.
Thank you. And then I looked and I was like, the irony that this place is supposed to be a place of healing, but we are skipping it. You're skipping the moments which make this human, not so mechanical, like now, let's clean you out, let's do this. Sit down and tell them, you're going to feel like this. You know, vessels work half of the time, and we try to get to the mothers before these doctors come in with their big words. Because they come in and they tell you such big words, you're like, Google is going to help me here. Can you spell it? And you write it and you just wait to go home and find out what exactly happened. There's a chick on her thing, they put there Mr. Boshon. The husband thought that she had removed the child.
Oh yes, the terminology.
Yes. Hey.
Oh my gosh. I didn't even thought about that.
Thank you.
Because I was so confused also when I saw it. I was like, what does this mean?
Yes. So I was like, guys, simplify this. Yes, you've been taught terminologies for you, but when you're talking to your patients, bring it down a notch, right?
You can try to be a bit more sensitive.
Yeah.
Was your husband around?
For the first one, yes. The second one, he came after because he was in Nairobi. He had gotten a job in Nairobi and all that. So, like I said, the ESC is such a lie. So he had to move back. But James, I don't talk about James because James just happened. You know, actually, in Vessel, I had to go through my own therapy to deal with, because Kitangaza I dealt very well. I even journaled about her. This whole thing is my journals. James was a blip. It was like, ding. And yet he's the beginning of my madness, because after that I went on, we are going to get pregnant by this time. it's gonna happen now. You know, get the ovulation sticks, it's happening, open your legs, leave them up there, do all that crazy nonsense. But I wasn't admitting that I had actually lost a pregnancy, and I built a wall where I could not communicate with my husband at all. Like, he'd try, but then I was like, what am I going to say that I failed? You see? So I was like, we're going to pretend that everything is fine, and once you get pregnant again, then everything will be okay.
We'll move on.
But the foundation already started cracking. So when I get pregnant, he's not even excited about it, because now we're on bed rest, and then now we had to go in separate beds and what, and it's just like, yo. And his fear was I was going to die looking for these children, right? And I think we had a conversation once about Kayla being enough, but I was pregnant, and I was like, why are we having 2 are enough? Then he's like, yeah, 2 are enough. Okay. 2 are enough. So after this, so I was like, no, you go for a vasectomy. He's like, man, I'm not touching that guy. I'm just not there. You know, guys don't talk about these things. And I'm like, you
they're
guys
like,
no. He's like,
I mean, there's some men who do.
Yeah.
But they're very rare.
Yeah. He's like, I'm not touching that. No. You go tie your tubes. I was like, okay, it's fine. I'll tie my tubes. I mean, really, 2, I'm good.
So you agreed after this pregnancy you tie your tubes?
Yeah. So my tubes were actually tied after they took out Ketangaza, because I was operated on both of them. I was operated.
And for Ketangaza, you actually went into labor, I think.
Yeah,
your water broke.
Christmas
Day.
Yeah, water broke. I didn't even know what water breaking meant, because Kayla, it was the chick was like, you're too big. If you get any bigger, we are just going to have issues here. So come tomorrow.
Oh.
Yeah. So
okay.
I was scheduled for 14th November. 2nd November I was in the hospital. So 3rd they brought her out, and there she is, 3.2 of her. Just nyami chubby, yeah. So I don't know. Ketangaza was quite different, because you know how you've made a decision to cut, and everyone keeps saying, why did you tie your tube? Because she came out alive. Do you understand?
She came out alive. Everything was fine.
Everything was fine. She came out alive. They put her on me. She was even touching me. She was so I knew, I was like, I have my 2 girls. I'm good.
And you know, there's a whole process. You have to have your spouse's approval. The doctors need their approval. Yes. What
is that? My uterus. My rights.
No. You must have your spouse's
It's everybody's
approval.
Rights apart from yours. Oh my God. I looked and I was like, what? What happened
then
here?
Some doctors will refuse to do
They'll
it.
They'll be like, no,
well.
I can't do this. No. You first write a letter here, there. I looked and I was like, wow. But it's my choice. And then it's the age thing. How old are you? Right? And they're like, no, you might want to have others. And I'm like, no, I think I'm done. So because I didn't know she had even passed till 4 hours later, right? Because I was waiting. You know how you're eagerly waiting. In fact, my breasts were the ones that are like, and she ate. Let me tell you, that pregnancy, I can't say that I didn't eat. I ate shawarmas, I ate Chinese food. That chick had her own taste. Very expensive. You know, the whole time I would be with my sister and I'm like, this child is going to cost me a lot of money. Like Kayla would be there and be, I want prawns. I'm like, whose budget are you on? Who gave you this expensive thing? Do you know how much prawns are? She's like, I feel like prawns. I'm like, no, let's eat bread, please. Hey. You know, I only found out what it was because I checked on the death notification when we were leaving. Because when he said, your baby died, you know that, that's what I heard. I didn't hear anything. And he was talking, but I could not literally hear what he was saying. And I just kept, and I was like, I want to see her. Just bring her. And then he asked, are you sure? It's like, why am I the one asking? You should have been there to ask me, do you want to see her? You see, there's something that happens in medical school. Either they don't finish it properly or they just give you the basics and you're supposed to personalize it. Because you know there are certain doctors, people say, oh my God, you have to go to this guy. But that guy, is either he's from a good family where they had those manners, or he went to a good school. And then there are others who you just really look at and you're like, which school did you go to?
There are some people who are good doctors,
but they're not
But their
good.
bedside manner is completely
Gone. And I don't know.
I can honestly say one of my gynecologists was Russian, and I thought he was just a horrible, horrible man until after a few years I found it was just that he didn't know English. He barely knew any English.
So for him, it's
so
like
when
minimal,
I saw him
minimal.
again,
Yeah.
he was talking and he's like, yeah, no, I can speak. And I was like,
Oh, Bambi, Lord, yeah, but it's necessary. I don't know. I just feel it's necessary. We need like a course in bedside, like just make it a course so that you excel at it, or if you can even learn.
Yeah, you can learn.
You
we
can
all
learn. Yeah, we can learn. So yeah.
So, when did you talk to your husband?
I did. My sister did. My sister did because she was the one in charge of communicating to everyone and everything. So she told him, and then now we went back and forth because this is no longer a Kekimuri child. She is an Ngesa, so she has to be buried in Kisumu. So now we went on that back and forth. Where do we take her? And my dad was like, you can't collect all these people to take them to Rukunjiri before New Year's. This is madness. So we're like, so where are we? How? Do you know, my sister came and told me, you know, Daddy has just told me. He says that, you know, the hospitals, they have, back in the day, they used to have facilitations for this, to take care of this whole thing. My sister said, I looked at him and I walked away. And I was like, what? And she's like, yeah. So I was like, so that means all mommy's babies says they were not buried.
Yeah.
Okay, let's just put that aside. That's a box we're not going to touch. Let's leave it. So we are struggling to find how, where. And my husband, same thing. His father says, oh no, you find somewhere there to bury her. We don't bury kids who are below 1 or something like that. And I was like, this is actually a very deep-seated cultural problem because they won't acknowledge your child.
They're not acknowledging.
They won't acknowledge your child.
And that's very painful for you because you want to grieve, you want to mourn.
But they won't give you that space. And the moment it clicked in my head, I was like, I told Dora, I said, we have to find where to bury her, where I can walk and place flowers. And she's like, I'm looking. So her mother-in-law, their burial grounds is Namamve. She's like,